Right now, somewhere in your house, it's 3 a.m. and you're wide awake. Not because of an alarm, not because of noise. Your eyes just opened, and your brain immediately does the thing. Something's wrong with me. You reach for your phone. You scroll for 20 minutes. You feel guilty about it in the morning. Here's the reframe. That exact moment, waking in the dead of night with your mind switched on, might be one of the most normal human experiences in history. Not a glitch, a default setting. It's older than the light bulb, older than clocks, older than the idea that sleep is supposed to be one long, unbroken block at all. So the question is, if waking at 3 a.m. isn't broken sleep, what were people actually doing with it for thousands of years? Let's go back to a village. No electricity, obviously. No streetlights, no phones, no glowing microwave clock. Just a house, a hearth, and darkness so complete you could actually see the Milky Way through a gap in the roof. And in that house, around midnight, everyone goes down. Whole family. Same room usually, because heat was expensive and walls were thin. They sleep for roughly 4 hours. Then they wake up, not from a nightmare, not from a noise, just naturally. And here's the strange part. They expected it. Historians studying pre-industrial Europe found something odd buried in old diaries, court depositions, medical texts, even prayer manuals. People kept referring to first sleep and second sleep like they were two completely separate events. Not a bad night, a normal night. Between them sat a stretch of quiet waking time, usually an hour or so, that people just used. Think about that. An entire scheduled block of consciousness tucked inside the night, that modern life basically deleted. So what filled it? A lot of ordinary, oddly relatable stuff. Some people prayed. Religious texts from the period actually recommended the watch between first and second sleep as an ideal time for quiet devotion, precisely because the house was silent and nobody was around to interrupt you. Some people talked. Married couples, lying in the dark with the kids finally asleep, used that hour for actual conversation. The pre-industrial version of the 2 a.m., are we okay talk. Some people worked. Menders fixed tools. Farmers checked on animals. Someone had to keep the fire alive because a fire that died at 1 a.m. in the middle of winter wasn't a cozy inconvenience. It could be lethal. And some people, let's be honest, used it for exactly what you're picturing. Historical records genuinely reference the midnight waking hour as a socially acceptable window for intimacy between spouses, partly because it was one of the only moments in a crowded, chaperoned household where two adults might actually get a slice of privacy. Same. Honestly, if my only alone time was 1 a.m. in a room full of sleeping relatives, I'd take it too. But this segmented pattern didn't start in medieval villages. That's just where we happen to have the paperwork. Go back further, before writing, before farming, before permanent villages at all, to small bands of hunter-gatherers sleeping in the open or under simple shelters, with fire as the only thing standing between them and the dark. Researchers who've studied modern hunter-gatherer and forager communities, groups in places like Tanzania and Bolivia, whose sleep patterns had never been shaped by artificial light or fixed work schedules, found something telling. Their nights weren't one clean block either. People drifted in and out. Someone was almost always semi-awake, tending the fire, listening. That's not an accident. That's a job. A group sleeping completely, totally, all at once, in an environment full of predators and rival humans, is a group that doesn't survive very long. Somebody has to be the one whose eyes crack open at the wrong hour and notices the fire's low, or hears something move in the brush. So here's what makes this so important. That 3 a.m. wake-up you hate? It might be a fossil, a behavioral leftover from tens of thousands of years where partial night waking wasn't a disorder. It was a survival feature, baked so deep into us that it outlasted the predators, outlasted the open fires, outlasted the villages themselves. Fast forward again. Villages get bigger. Someone invents the concept of an actual night watch. Not just whoever happens to wake up, but an assigned rotation. Sentries on walls. Someone walking the perimeter with a torch, checking that nothing's crept close while everyone else got their 4 hours. That role shows up again and again across very different cultures and eras. watchmen, night guards, temple keepers tending sacred flames that were never allowed to go out. Rome had them. Medieval towns had them, complete with a guy whose entire job was walking around calling out the hour, so people would know it, since almost nobody owned a working clock, which is a wild thing to sit with. For most of human history, what time is it wasn't a glance at your phone. It was a stranger's voice cutting through the dark, telling the whole town at once. But here's the pivot. All of this, the watch, the segmented sleep, the midnight prayers and midnight arguments and midnight, well, everything didn't survive contact with one invention: artificial light. Once cheap, reliable lighting spread through homes and streets, nighttime stopped being this dark, mysterious middle zone people had to actively manage. It became an extension of the day. People started staying up later, going down all at once, and expecting one long, uninterrupted sleep because now they finally could. Within a couple generations, first sleep and second sleep basically vanished from the language. Not because the biology changed, because the environment did. Which means when you wake at 3 a.m. today, blinking at the ceiling, feeling broken, you're not malfunctioning. You're running ancestral software on modern hardware. Your body is still half expecting a fire to check, a watch to keep, an hour of quiet to fill. It's just that nobody told your brain the fire's not out there anymore. So here's the full picture. Long before villages, small bands slept in shifts because full unconsciousness was dangerous. Villages formalized that into watchmen and night guards protecting sleeping families. Medieval households split the night into 2 deliberate sleeps, with a wide-awake hour in between used for prayer, conversation, work, or each other. Then artificial light arrived, erased the gap almost overnight, and left modern humans convinced that a single unbroken block of sleep is the only correct way to rest, even though it's actually the newest, strangest sleep pattern our species has ever tried. So next time it's 3 a.m. and your eyes just open for no reason, you don't have to reach for your phone. You could just lie there in the dark. Let your mind wander a little. Somewhere, for most of human history, someone was doing exactly the same thing, listening to a fire crackle, waiting for the second sleep to come find them. We spent thousands of years learning to live comfortably inside the dark. Maybe the strange part isn't that you woke up. Maybe it's that we ever expected the night to leave us alone in the first place. If you like digging into this one, there's more human weirdness where that came from. Stick around if you want to keep going down these.